I'm Warren Moon with the Minnesota Vikings, coming up next with One on One.
Welcome back, everybody, to the fastest half hour in television. I'm Eddie A., and you know who my guest is. And we'll come back and spend some time talking with one of the finest quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League, Warren Moon of the Minnesota Vikings, right after we pause for these messages.
An ordinary beer can, barely alive.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild it. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic can. Coors Light will be that can. Better than it was before. Taller, thinner, silver. Next on the Coors Light channel.
If you want to move ahead in any career, you have to know what most employers want. Like how to work with a team, how to handle responsibility, how to take on a tough job and see it through. You can learn all these things in the Army, so when you do set off on the road to success, you'll already be in the driver's seat.
Sports fans, you've seen the best. Now Marv Albert's here to show you the rest.
Lots of horsing around in the world of sport.
There's 45 minutes of non-stop fun in Marv's great new video, the hilarious Albert Achievement Award. And best of all, your video's free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. In this great new video, Marv captures all the amazing footwork, agility, grace, and power that makes sports so much fun to watch.
Hysterical.
Call now and you'll also get your choice of an authentic NFL Pro Line hat. Free. Pick your favorite team. It's up to you. The Albert Achievement Awards video and the NFL hat of your choice make a great gift for yourself or your favorite sports fan. And it comes with 54 issues of Sports Illustrated for only $1.47 an issue. You save over 50% off the cover price. For quicker delivery, use your credit card. Nobody's into sports like Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the fastest half hour in television, and we want to get right into it because I've got an awful lot of stuff I want to throw at Warren Moon. But first of all, this is kind of like old family week. I remember back in the 70s, don't want to date you, don't want to age you, but you came off the field after beating Michigan with Washington Huskies, and I was the first media person to greet you, and I thought to myself, being as nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, that you're going to make me look bad because you're not going to have time for the interview, but you gave it. And I got a chance to visit with your mom afterwards, and she's still in Los Angeles.
Still in Los Angeles, still living there with 3 of my sisters are still living there, and I get back there to visit as much as I possibly can, but that was a thrilling time for me. That was a day where nobody expected us to do what we did, and I played a large part in it, and it was the end of my college career, and I couldn't have felt happier.
Warren, have you had a chance to settle into the Purple People Eater style of things?
I finally am. I finally got a place to live. I'm starting to learn my way around all the different freeways and everything, because it's really a big change for me at this point in my career to make a change like I've made this year. I'm looking to, finish my career in the next couple of years, but here I am all of a sudden changing and starting all over again at age 37. So it's a little different for me, but I'm coping with it.
I'm glad you said that, because your age has been everything from 38 to 39, so you just laid it out on television in front of millions of people, so it's very good. 37, but cohesiveness plays a big part in success.
Yes, it does.
When did you start to feel cohesive with the Minnesota Vikings? Because you've been a Houston Oiler for so many years.
Yeah, we're still filling each other out. We have a lot of new faces on our football team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and as a quarterback coming in and having to learn everything, having a right tackle who came in as a free agent in Chris Hinton. Our left tackle's a rookie in Todd Stussy. Our receivers have a couple of young guys playing receiver who have never really played much before. So it's a big difference for us. Our center's never played center before. Our right guard used to be right tackle. So we're all learning it together on the run, and we're showing good signs of success at certain points, but there's other times we're showing inconsistency in that success. So we just have to become more consistent. We have really good talent. It's just a matter of putting it all together. Like you said, cohesion plays a big part in football.
I would imagine, too, that it was fortunate for you that you had an opportunity to know where you were going early on so that you could establish some foundation with Denny Green and the rest.
Right. The earlier I could have known in the offseason, the better it would have been for me. But I didn't find out till late April. Then all of a sudden I made the move up here and started working on the playbook. But it takes a while, especially when you're going from what we did in the run and shoot, which is so totally different from what everybody else is doing in the league, back to a more conventional type offense.
I got a feeling, just knowing you and knowing the kind of athlete you are upstairs, that you probably were on the phone immediately with Denny and said, I'm going to be on the next plane. I want the playbook, right?
Exactly, and they made it very easy for me, too. Sometime I would come up here and spend a few days, and our offensive coordinator, Brian Bellick, would come down and spend a couple of days with me in Houston, depending on what was going on in my schedule. So they made it as accommodating as they could for me, and it worked out pretty well.
Big question, I think, from every football fan, from the run and shoot to this style of offense here. Are you happier with this?
I am happy with it. There's no question about it. I think once we start working on all of our cylinders, it's going to even be better. But for what I'm doing at this point in my career, I think it's very good for me. It's an offense where we're going to have more balance. So we'll run the ball a lot more. We'll throw the shorter passing game. We'll get better protection, things like that. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to at this point in my career. The run and shoot was a great offense for production. We won a lot with it, but it really took a toll on your body over a course of a period of time. And at this point in my career, I don't need that toll on my body anymore.
Yeah, but speaking of the body now, you just gave a question for me, and that's the fact that you have really you've had some injuries with your hand and whatever when you hit some helmets and whatever, but basically the rest of the body has been pretty secure. You haven't had the real leg injuries, so I would imagine that you can dictate just how long you want to continue to play.
I really can, as long as I don't have that major injury. I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed by the Lord to He's protected me over my career, and I have had a fracture here or a dislocated thumb, but nothing really major that's kept me out for a season or whatever. So I've been very fortunate that way, and I've played a lot of football over the last 17 years.
And I guess the other thing too is the fact that even with the Washington Huskies, you ran smart. You didn't run crazy.
Exactly. You know when to get out of bounds. You know when to get down on the ground. And those are the things that keep you healthy in this game, especially in the National Football League as a quarterback. Randall Cunningham had a lot of success early, but he's finding out that you can't run the way you did when you were a younger guy. You got to be smarter about when you take off and run and when you get down on the ground and when you get out of bounds.
By the way, let's tell the folks out there in Viewerland that we've got some problems in the background with the freeway right here near the Minnesota Vikings training camp, and the airport's close by, so just be aware that those are some of the noises that you're listening to, as to be sure. The fans here in Minnesota. I come here as a visitor, and these are warm, wonderful people. How've they been as an athlete?
They've been the same way since I've been here. Everybody really greeted me well when I came here, seemed to be genuinely excited to have me here in town, and have really embraced me pretty well since I've been here. I'd like to show them more, and that will come over the next few weeks or so as we get better as a group, but they've been very good fans thus far, and looking forward to staying here for a while.
One problem that you could have, which could be a distraction, is you're such a family man that you got to be concerned with the little ones as well as the wife, and wondering how they're being taken care of, because you got to be here away from home, away from Houston, the home that you've fallen in love with, and trying to concentrate on football.
It's been a big adjustment for me, too. I've never been away from my family for any long period of time, except for when I go away to training camp in Houston. So being away from them, not seeing my son play football for the first year, watching my kids grow up involved in all their activities, it's been a big change for me. When open house comes at the beginning of the year, I'm always there. I've never missed an open house. Well, this year I had to. Little things like that are very important in their upbringing. Those are things that I really miss, and it's been a big adjustment for me, but we're all working it out so far.
So for the people out here in Viewerland, you haven't disrupted your family by moving them to Minnesota, St. Paul.
Yeah, it was a big decision my wife and I had to make, whether to pick up everybody and move them out of their environment that they're used to, away from their friends, away from the home, all those things, as opposed to being together as a family. We had to make that decision, and we chose, just because it's a 6-month ordeal, which I'm going to be up here during the season, that would be probably the best thing to do. Keep them all there and just kind of visit as much as they possibly could, and then when the season's over, I'll go back home.
Warren, I realize that there's always the good running backs and the good receivers and the good offensive linemen and the good defense, etc. But you are, and you know it, as the quarterback, you are the heart and soul of this football team. So goes Warren Moon, so goes the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Does that add any pressure to you, knowing how pressure-packed the President of the United States or the quarterback of the football team happens to be?
Eddie, I think it's always been that way for me. Playing the quarterback position for as long as I have, I know that everything is going to come down to me. So it's something that I kind of accept, and it's something I kind of want. I don't think you want this position unless you want the pressure and the responsibility that comes along with it. So I don't mind that at all. And my expectations for myself are high, just like other people's are for me. So I can't put any more pressure, or they can't put any more pressure on me than I've already put on myself, because I want to succeed as much as anybody does.
So when the boos do come, as they did occasionally in Houston, you accept that?
Definitely. It's part of the job. I get more adulation when I don't do as well, but we win. And sometimes when I play well and we lose, I get criticized for it. So it just comes along with the job, and it's just something I've learned to live with over the years, and something that, like I said, is part of what I do for a living, and you just have to shrug it off. I know within myself I have great confidence in my ability. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I'm not going to let some guy who paid $30 for a ticket eating a hot dog tell me that I'm not any good, or whether I am good or not.
With that, we're going to take a pause for the cause. When we come back, we're going to ask Warren Moon, can he get better at age 37? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
For years, you've been fed the same old line, that there are only two great tasting colas to choose from.
Hook up, fish on! Fish on!
Hey, you don't have to swallow that. Drink RC and you'll look at colas in a whole new way.
What's the matter, son?
I'm kind of worried about a package I sent out for Mr. Jones.
Cup of coffee? Well, sending out that package is a big responsibility. Jones knows you'll come through. Hard work, faith, trust in each other. That's what it's all about. Besides, in over 20 years, FedEx has never let me down.
What if I didn't use FedEx?
Well, then, you're dead.
Next time, use FedEx.
Hit the lights on your way out.
An ordinary beer can, barely alive.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild it. We have the technology. We have the capability to make the world's first bionic can. Coors Light will be that can. Better than it was before. Taller, thinner, silver. Next on the Coors Light channel.
Tom, can I see you for a moment?
Yeah.
You sent that package FedEx like I asked, right?
Well, Carol, sometimes you've got to be your own man, woman. Blaze your own trail. Stand on your own 2 feet. Break away from the herd. March to the beat of a different drum. Stare fate in the eye. Zig when the other guy zags.
Package never got there, did it?
No, not even close.
Oh.
Carol,
Yes, Tom.
will this affect my raise?
Well, you just gotta bite the bullet.
Next
And
time,
burn,
use
burn,
FedEx.
Just get right-
Welcome back, everybody. The fastest half hour in television continues to roll with Warren Moon, the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And at age 37, we talked about your body and the fact that you're in relatively good shape, especially your legs. With that in mind, how long do you really feel that you can endure, which is probably the most abusive sport there is?
I don't know. I think I'm going to play as long as I'm playing at a certain level that I'm used to playing at, and as long as I still have that zest and fire for the game. And so far I still have that because I want to win a championship. And I think that's the thing that keeps me going. I'm really not playing for the money anymore. I've pretty much taken care of myself that way. I've done a lot of things individually as far as records and things. So now it's all about winning the whole thing, and then I can say that every goal that I set out for myself in this league would be completed.
But I know that you're a competitor. As you said, you're a perfectionist. Can you get any better at age 37?
I really think I can, only because I'm learning something different. So when you're learning something different, you have to get better at different things. I think whenever you're involved in the game as a quarterback, you're going to always see something defensively that you haven't seen before. So you're going to get better because of that too. So experience-wise, you're going to get better. And I don't know how much better I can get physically, but I think I can be a lot smarter player.
I don't know how you feel, but I told my son that this change could add a lot more fire to Warren Moon because it is a new challenge.
And I've always thrived on challenges. I think the reason I continue to play this position is because people told me a long time ago that I couldn't play the position. I wasn't given the opportunity at certain levels. I had to go to junior college where major colleges wouldn't recruit me as a quarterback. Had to go to Canada because the NFL didn't really think I could play quarterback. So this is another challenge for me, seeing that if I can go to another offense at this point in my career, take a team that's right there at playoff time, but wanting to make that next step, see if I can make a difference.
How much of a decision was it for you when you thought that you would become a Minnesota Viking? Was there much decision? Did you have a say in the decision?
It had a lot to do with me and how comfortable I felt, and the Vikings were very good about almost selling me on the fact that this is the place where I should be. Their general manager came down and talked to me. Dennis Green came down and talked with me. Their offensive coordinator came down and talked X's and O's with me. So all those things played a part in it. I had a chance to come up here and see what the city was like, see how I would fit into this environment up here. And then I talked to my wife a lot about the actual change, what it would be like at this point in our career to make a move like this. So it was something that really ended up working out well for us. You know, a lot of things told me I wanted to stay in Houston because I had been there so long. I had established so many different relationships, but something else told me it's time to get out and move on and maybe try it somewhere else.
Now, you know, many times during the course of a national broadcast of a football game on NBC or CBS, there would be the conversation that Warren Moon is a coach on the field and would one day be an excellent coach. You made a reaction to me before we went on the air that really stung me for a moment. You don't have any interest at all.
I really have no desire to coach football. I think it's a tremendous sacrifice, first of all, to be a coach in the National Football League. It takes a lot of time away from your family. I think I'm away from my family a lot now. I'm looking forward to the day when I can spend more time with them. Going into coaching just takes you more away from your family than you already are. I want to do something that keeps me close to the game. There's no question about it. I've played this game too long to just walk away from it. But to be a coach on a full-time basis where you're working 16, 17-hour days sometimes, I don't think I'm ready for that right now.
you know, people know that as a quarterback, you're already taking film home. You don't want to take the whole organization home with you.
Not at all, and not the pressure that comes along with it, and you know, just the time that you're going to be away from your house, away from your family. I've spent 17 years doing this in professional football. Like I said, I'm looking forward to the day when I can just go home and be with them a little bit more as they grow up.
Let me ask you a question, because I try to let the viewer out there, especially the young folks, know exactly what goes into being a professional athlete, and especially the leader of the team on the field, which is the quarterback. How much actual film do you watch here and take home? Because I'm sure you do both. You take a lot home as well.
Yeah, don't take home as much as you would watch here. We spend a lot of time throughout the day, you know, 3 to 4 hours a day watching film in the facility. At home, I'll take home certain situations. One night I might watch 3rd and long. The next night I might watch 3rd and short. Different things like that. And probably spend 20 to 30 minutes just watching some at home just to get a feel for what we're going to see the next day in practice. But you spend the majority of your time working here at the practice field, and a thing that I like to do is try not to take too much of this home with me. You know, you spend so much of your time playing football, you want to be able to get home and get away from it whenever you can.
There are very few quarterbacks in the National Football League that call their own plays. Jim Kelly is one of them. I think Dan Marino does a little bit. Does Warren Moon call his own plays? Would you like to?
Here, because everything's so new to me, I don't think I'm in a position to call them right now. At some point down the line, maybe so, but the thing I've always said, even when I played in Houston where I didn't call my own plays, you know, we're so in tune and we're so on the same page as far as what's being called from the sideline because we work on situations throughout the week. I pretty much know what the play is going to be before it comes in. And as long as I have the freedom on the line of scrimmage to audible to whatever I want to get to, if I see something that I like, then that's the freedom that a quarterback needs. That way you can take command of the game. If a play is called that you think isn't going to work against a certain defense, as long as you can get out of it and get to something else, that's all the really control that you need.
To the college kids out here listening, and I realize that it's been a long time for you now, but thinking back in that first maybe rookie season in the CFL and of course the NFL, was it all that you thought it would be or more?
It's a lot more, totally. You watch it on television, that's the only thing you really have to go by once you go from college to professional. But you know, you're playing with grown men all of a sudden. You're playing with guys that know all the tricks of the trade. You're playing with a great player at every position on the field. In college, you might have a great cornerback or a great receiver, a great running back, but there's a lot of other marginal players that'll never get a chance to play professional football in college. when you line it up against the pros, you're playing against a great player all the time, so you better come with it. And these guys are really the best in the world, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to come back from the CFL to play in the NFL, because I wanted to measure myself against the best and see how I stood up.
One of the guys that I've had on my show, Randall Cunningham of the Eagles, he said to me, Eddie, one of my biggest faults is I tend to have so much confidence in my arm, I forget to also utilize my legs when I'm throwing. That's not your case, is it?
It is sometimes. I'm the same way. I've got a very strong arm, and sometimes you can get away with throwing off your back foot. Randall gets away with it too, because we do have that ability. And sometimes there are cases where it really helps you, because you can get the ball off just a little bit quicker when you don't have to go forward on that front foot and throw the ball. If you can get the same velocity and the same accuracy off your back foot, you can get the ball to that receiver just that split second when he's open. So it works to your advantage sometimes, but sometimes it works to your disadvantage too, and that's where you got to watch out.
The fastest half hour in television will continue in just a moment for about a final look with Warren Moon about the game of football in the National Football League. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. A final look with Warren Moon at the game of football and also the game of life. And talking about the game of life, you spend an awful lot of time, at least you did in Houston, to giving a little bit back.
Yeah, I've been able to do some things up here thus far. I had a clinic right before the season started where we had about 600 kids go through a football clinic, and it was really good to get involved in the community a little bit. I'm in the process now of looking for office space to open up a branch of my foundation up here, and we had 1,200 kids at our first opening game through the foundation. So we've been able to do some things positive, and we want to do a lot more. The thing we wanted to do was come up here and see how we would fit into the community, see exactly where our needs were and where we would be needed the most, and it's been good thus far.
You've got to be proud, too, as we talked in the tunnel after the Rose Bowl game, that you've come from a good environment. Not only the gorgeous mother, but you've come from a background that's been there for you.
That's I think has a lot to do with all of my success. My mom, I mean, she was my biggest role model growing up, taking us as a family of 7 and pretty much doing it all on her own when my dad died when I was 8 years old. And the way I watched her, how she made our house work, and with what little she had to work with, really showed me a lot about her. She really sacrificed a lot of her personal life for us, and now I'm in a position where I can do for her, which is very good. And the upbringing that she gave me has a lot to do with the things that I do off the field, the way I carry myself, and I owe a lot to her.
Do you take this game seriously enough to take it home with you sometimes?
Well, I used to earlier in my career, but I learned that you're only as good as your last game, and if you play well one week, the next week could be bad, and vice versa. You could play bad one week, the next week could be good for you. So what you have to do is try and take what you did right and wrong out of the game and then forget about it and move on to the next week. And I've learned to do that. I've learned to get more into my family after a ball game, and I've also learned with my foundation that gets me away from what's happened on the football field, whether good or bad, on Sunday also. I get right into the office on Monday and Tuesday and get into things that are real life, things that are really affecting people every day, and that kind of keeps everything in perspective for me.
Would you recommend this game, which is one of the more vicious sports there is, obviously, and yet you still love it, and as Jim Kelly and some of the others have said, even though they've also gone on the injured list, that they still love it. Would you recommend this to your son on this level?
I'd recommend it if he wants to do it and if he's good enough to get here. I'm not going to tell him to set his career sights on being a professional football player. I think if he's good enough, if he really has the desire to do it, he'll get it done. But I think what I wanted to do early in his life was give him a lot of different opportunities. So one reason I didn't let him start playing football until he was in the 8th grade is because I wanted him to try a whole lot of other sports, a whole lot of other things, because I knew because of the pressure of me playing, that was going to drive him to play football anyway. So now that he's had a chance to try a lot of new things, if he wants to be a football player when he grows up, that's fine with me, and I'll back him all the way.
I asked a colleague of yours yesterday, Troy Aikman of the Dallas Cowboys, what is some of the funny things that have happened in his career, and he mentioned lining up behind the tackle one time. So I got to ask Warren Moon, is there anything in the CFL or the NFL comes to mind that you down the years from now when you're talking to grandchildren and whatever, will be able to say, this was a funny thing to happen to me?
Well, I've done that before too. I've lined up behind the guard. I didn't go as far out as the tackle, so Troy's got one on me that way. But probably the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me is in Canada, you only have 3 downs to throw the football. or to get a first down. And I lost sight in a 2-minute situation what down it was one time, and instead of trying to get the first down, I threw the ball out of bounds on 3rd down, trying to stop the clock, and the drive was over. And that was probably the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me, and it was pretty embarrassing at the time.
There are a lot of athletes out there who would like to take some advice from you, especially the young ones coming up, the high school kids. What advice can you give to the aspiring athlete out there as he goes or she goes through life?
Well, I think the biggest thing I can tell any student athlete out there right now is to first of all concentrate on your books. Try and get your education, because I think that's the most vital and important thing that you can do right now in your young life, because football or any other sport isn't guaranteed to you. If you make it, it's great, but the odds are against most people making it. So try and have that education to fall back on, and I really believe that anything that you're willing to try at and work hard at and sacrifice at, you'll achieve in life, because it's just a matter of putting in the work and being prepared and studying and doing the things that it takes. And I think everybody's gifted in something. I was gifted in football, and God gave me the gifts to be able to have great physical ability that way, and I nourished those abilities and developed them. Well, you have to find out whatever that is in your life and develop it at the earliest possible time that you possibly can and get the most out of yourself. And if you're willing to do those things, you'll be successful whatever it is you want to try.
So in essence, you love the game, but you don't consider yourself bigger than life.
I really don't. I don't take for granted one day everything that's happened to me, and I know that I could be right back on that same street where I grew up, and I also know this could all be taken away from me the next time I run on that football field. So I'm going to try and get the most out of it I possibly can, both on the field and off the field, and I've had a route so far.
Warren Moon, you've got a Rose Bowl ring, championship ring. Hopefully one day you'll get a Super Bowl ring.
That's what.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. Coming up next, one-on-one.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the fastest half hour in television, and you know who our guest is, the finest running back in all of the National Football League, Emmitt Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll come back and visit with number 22 right after we pause for this.
Get it moving. And the silver bullet has the taste to keep it moving. Coors Light. Keep on moving. Naturally brewed for a taste that goes down easy. Coors Light. Keep on moving.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. Grow a collection of fun with Chia Pet puppies, kittens, turtles, bunnies, plus the new chia frogs, pigs, hippos, and chia trees. Ask for it by name.
Chia.
The pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet's available at Kmart, Walgreens, Woolworth, and Sears hardware stores. Makes a great gift.
Chia.
Chia Herb Garden comes with everything you need to grow 6 different herbs indoors. Seeds, pots and saucers, plant food, instruction booklet, even chia growing mix. A great gift for anyone. Just plant your herb seeds, water, add plant food, then put them in a sunny spot, and
Chia
makes cooking fun.
And tasty. Chia.
Chia Herb Garden.
The Chia Herb Garden is available at Rite Aid, Revco, participating True Value, and Service Star. Makes a great gift.
Welcome back, everybody, and if ever there was a dream that was being lived, it's obviously number 22, Emmitt Smith of the Dallas Cowboys. From Florida to Dallas to 2 Super Bowls, looking for a third. Is it a dream or what?
Yes, it is a dream. It's definitely a dream. For years, as a football player, you dream about getting to the NFL. You dream about playing in the big games. You dream about going to the Super Bowl. And for me, it's been 4 years of dreams and we're working on 5 right now. Hopefully we can complete this year up with another Super Bowl title.
But let me ask you this, Emmitt. When things were not going so well for the Dallas Cowboys, I remember Troy Aikman once said, I was 0-11 my first year, and every time I walked and chewed bubble gum at the same time, I came up injured. Did you ever think back then that things would turn around and be this successful at this point?
Well, you know, one thing I've been fortunate to do, I mean, since I got to the Cowboys, I come in here in 1990, and we didn't have a great season, but we were 7-9. The 1-15 season that the Cowboys had, I mean, it was something that the players definitely did not want to go through again. So in 1990, they made an emphasis of that. And one thing we wanted to do was to turn it all around. And in 1990 was the start of turning everything around. And once we received North Turning in as our offensive coordinator, some things changed, offense scheme changed, and players learned a lot in that system and was looking forward to the following year.
Got to ask you one of the biggest questions that I think that you were asked when you first came out, first few games. Was the NFL all you thought it would be when you were in college?
It was that and then some. I mean, as a football player coming out of high school or playing Little League football, you don't see the business aspect of it. Here, not only do you have to be a top-notch football player, but you also learn to be a businessman also at the same time.
Can you remember back your first season, that rookie season, when during that season you felt, hey, I can do this?
Throughout the summer, my rookie season, we came in, we had the quarterback schools, and I was learning the defenses, learning the offense, and doing the one-on-one drills and going through the offense and defensive drills. And right then and there, I had a feeling of what I could do, and I was kind of looking forward to to the season. And then by mid part of the season of my rookie year, that's when things started really happening for me. I started getting the ball in my hands on the average of 20 times a game, and started having a little bit of success. And from that point on, I got more confident in what I was doing, more confident in my own ability.
I know most rookies, when they come in, they don't want to say to the coach or to the quarterback, hey, I want to help carry the load. I want to carry 20, 30, 35 times a game. But did you do that? Did you go up to the coaching staff?
I kind of expected that to happen. I mean, when they drafted me as a running back in the first round. And if they didn't want me to carry the football, I don't think they would have drafted me. So things didn't go off as well as I thought they would early on into the season. For whatever reason it was, I felt like I had a good grasp of the system. And, you know, I had to whine a little bit in order for me to get the ball in my hand. And they decided to get it to me 20 times in one particular game, and I ended up gaining 121 yards.
One of the great players in this league, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he said to me in an interview, he said, Eddie, once I was signed, once I knew I was firmly entrenched, I started working like crazy on my mechanics because I wanted to be a great receiver in this league. And of course, he has been. What about you? Did you start, once you were signed and you knew you were a Dallas Cowboy officially in writing, you start working on some stuff?
No, not really, because I felt like the only thing I had to do once I got here, I felt all along coming out of college I was going to be a better NFL running back than I ever was a college running back. Reason being is because here at the NFL, I mean, you have all the tools, you have all the weapons. You got the great offensive line, you have the great quarterbacks, you have the great wide receivers, you have the supporting cast around you that can help you develop all the skills that you need. And one thing, once I got here, I felt very confident and felt very comfortable with what I was doing. And I just wanted to get out and just really show my talent.
Okay, you've done it all now. You got the money, you've got the recognition, you got some rings decorating your hand. What does it take to keep the fires burning in Emmitt Smith?
Well, for one, you can't be satisfied, and that's one thing I'm not satisfied with. I'm not satisfied with what I've done thus far, and I feel like I have a lot more in store. I feel like the future is bright ahead of me, and I'm continuing to work hard and strive every day. The thing about this profession here, what you did last year or the year before is all history. What you do now and today is what everybody's going to judge you by.
So in other words, you don't have time to get cocky?
There's no need to get cocky. My performance speaks for itself.
In this particular league, is there a chance that you could possibly be looking over somebody? Because this is a marvelous football team, there's no question. Okay, like you said, we've got the defense, we've got the offense, we've got the receivers, we've got the quarterback, we got me, Emmitt Smith. Is there a chance that you could ever, like college you can, occasionally look over somebody to get to Florida State or whatever? Can you look over anybody in this league?
Not in this league, you can't, because everybody have, if not, not to say that everybody have better talent or equal talent, but you know, we are all professional here. I mean, they get paid just like I get paid, and you know, they got great players over there just like we have great players on our side. So I think every team has the capability of beating another team, especially if you look over them.
A guy that thinks highly of you, and you probably didn't know this, but Randall Cunningham of the Philadelphia Eagles said to me not too long ago, spiritually, I'm a better athlete. And I didn't quite understand what he meant, and he told me. What about you? Does the man upstairs come into play for you?
Oh, the man upstairs has been in play throughout my whole 25 years of living. You know, when you talk about what God has given me, I mean, he's given me the strength, the ability, and not only that, he gave me the talent. And it's just up to me to go out and maximize that talent and utilize it. And that's what I've been trying to do throughout my career, and that's something I'm going to continue to strive for even after my career is over.
I know if I was Emmitt Smith, with all the things that you've done and the things that you're still doing, I would have a tendency in the morning to get up and look in the mirror and say, hey, you made it. Have you had that opportunity to do that?
No, I mean, I don't look at it that way. I don't think that I've made it yet, in my opinion. I think I probably was, after it's all over with and said and done, after I retire or whatever, I probably get the opportunity to sit there in the mirror and look back and say, yes, you did do everything in the football arena that you wanted to do, and I'm happy.
Okay, during the game, I see a lot of guys looking up at that screen for that instant replay. You're telling me that Emmitt Smith, as marvelous as you are, the spin moves that you have made, the touchdowns that you have made, you haven't looked at yourself and smiled and said, boy, he looks beautiful?
Oh yeah, that happens too now. You know, I've had some plays where I had to look at the screen to see exactly what happened and what went on, and once I saw it, I mean, I kind of like smiled and like, yeah, that's me up there doing all that. You know?
That's the smile of Emmitt Smith, number 22 of the Dallas Cowboys, and we'll come back after we take a pause for the cause right here. Be right back.
For years, you've been fed the same old line, that there are only two great tasting colas to choose from.
Hook up, fish on! Fish on!
Hey, you don't have to swallow that. Drink RC and you'll look at colas in a whole new way.
Presenting the Smart Clapper.
How smart could it be?
The Smart Clapper lets you turn two appliances on or off at the same time, and it knows the difference. Clap twice to control one, 3 times to control the other. It's easy. Plug 2 appliances into the Smart Clapper, then plug the Smart Clapper into any outlet. Great for hard-to-reach areas.
Clap on, clap off.
Set the Smart Clapper to away for added security. It's ready to turn on your TV and lights at the first sound it hears. And for convenience, the Smart Clapper turns on lights when you enter a dark room. Turns them off minutes after you leave.
Clap on, clap off. Clap on, clap off.
The Smart Clapper.
The Smart Clapper is available at Kmart, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Woolworth, Eckerd, Builder Square, and participating Ace and True Value. Makes a great gift.
Peter Barnes can't wait to shake his cold. Pills take time to dissolve, so he'll rush relief with the effervescent power of Alka-Seltzer Plus cold medicine. It's ready the moment you take it, rushing powerful medicines to soothe your aches, relieve your runny nose, free your breathing. Nothing rushes relief like Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. We're visiting with Emmitt Smith of the Dallas Cowboys, and this is truly the fastest half hour in television. And if you had to write it down and send a letter to family members to explain to them the difference in the pro game and the college game, is it the classroom sessions, because they are tough ones?
I would say that in the NFL, you definitely have to spend a lot of time studying film. You have to know your opponents very inside and out. You have to know your blocking assignment and how that individual that you're blocking is going to actually be rushing you. You got to be prepared for everything that he's doing. And so I think in the NFL, you definitely have to get used to the better competition, better quality, more quality football, and more studying also. Spend a lot more time studying the tape.
Who's your inspiration as a running back?
As a running back, I mean, there's been so many great running backs come through the NFL, the college rankings, and all. I mean, it's kind of hard to actually single out one individual and say, this is my inspiration, because, I mean, it's been so many great ones, like the Jim Browns, the Gary Sayers, the Walter Paytons, the Tony Dorsetts of the world, and you know, and on and on and on. And I think every last one of them have definitely paved the way for guys like myself and the Barry Sanders and the Thurman Thomas and other running backs throughout the league. So it's kind of hard to say which one is definitely an inspiration, because I think all of them are great running backs.
Well, my son once said something about Emmitt Smith, and this was just a couple of weeks ago against Pittsburgh. He said that he has the moves of a Mikhail Baryshnikov. If you had to put your style of running to music, what would it be? Tough question, but what would it be?
My style of running to music? What kind of music it would be?
Right.
I probably had to put some enigma to mine, some little more of a jazz type and yet serious type music at the same time, but without words. Something that you can feel the beat to it and feel the intensity involved in the music.
When you're sitting back, and you said to me just a few minutes ago, you said that you really do get a kick out of watching the tapes and films of your running. When you are out in the open running, do you have time at that moment to orchestrate anything, or it's all instinct?
Oh yeah, you have time to orchestrate. Yeah, I mean, throughout the course of running the ball, and if you break out into the secondary, you know, sometimes before the game, you're actually playing through plays and seeing yourself making positive plays, and then when you actually get in the game, it actually happens. But sometimes it don't never happen that way that you actually envision it. So, you know, during the course of a game, you break out in the open, you see runners here running, coming up to tackle you, and you kind of like play a role with them. I'm going to feed him this and see if he bite, and if he bite, I'm going to do this right here.
Well, I remember one specific time, and this was a Sunday game, and this is when I looked over at my son and I said, he's special. Kind of reminded me of a Frank Gifford saying that O.J. Simpson, somebody, was special. Emmitt Smith, to me, at that moment was special, and I kind of wondered on that 70-some-yard run if you had time to really think, man, this is fun right now. Are you able to do that?
Oh, yeah, you have fun. You have fun with your job. That's one thing you have to do in order to enjoy it, is have fun. And, you know, I try to go out there. The fun part comes on game day. When you get that opportunity, all week you prepare and prepare and prepare. All off-season you prepare for the fall season. Then once it get here, the preparing is actually stop. It's time to go out and perform now. And you prepare Monday through Friday and then play on Sunday. But, you know, when Sunday comes, it's like your reward for all the preparation that you put into it.
But what I'm saying is, and I've never had an opportunity to ask Jim Brown this, when you are in the midst of a big play that is going your way, do you have time to admire that activity up here?
No, you really don't. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It varies. It really does vary. I mean, when you make a great move on somebody, you know you did it. You know you did it. I mean, it happened for me about a year ago up in Indianapolis. I made a move on 2 defensive players and made them run into each other without them touching me. And it amazed me right then and there. And then when I come off the field, I'm running over the sideline. I say, hey, did you guys catch that move? I say that to Lincoln Coleman or somebody, and they be like, yeah. You know, you can see the crowd, you can see the sideline, you can see your players reacting to what you did on the field. And when you see that reaction, you know you did something mighty special.
There's a lot of people out there, especially young folks, who are saying right now, hey guys, come on in, this is Emmitt Smith right here. Let's listen to him. Okay, he's one-on-one. The question that I got to ask you is, with those kids watching right now and admiring you, what are you thinking at this moment when you're standing there ready to be introduced as a starter on one of the finest teams in the history of the National Football League? What are you thinking as Emmitt Smith's name is getting ready to be called?
I'm more concentrating on, I'm more getting myself prepared and more intense. I'm actually lighting the fuel inside me, trying to get really, really motivated to the highest level I can possibly get and then get ready to go out there and play that game at my very best. My total focus from that point on, once I run through and they call my name, is football, and kicking somebody's butt.
You just said something, kicking somebody's butt. Have you ever gone home and kicked the dog after a loss?
No, I don't have a dog, so you know. no. I mean, after a loss, I mean, definitely you're disappointed, especially when you messed up and you know you didn't play the perfect game and you wasn't really on top of your game. You're disappointed, and there's no need to kick the dog. But the great thing about this league is there are going to be many more opportunities.
So in other words, you're thinking, hey, I'm going to be back out there in 7 days.
I'll be back out there in 7 days, and we can erase this loss.
Anybody intimidate you in this league?
No one really intimidates me, but I have ran up against some great defenses, though, in this league. Some great defenses, in my opinion.
Who's the toughest that's played you?
The toughest teams that have played me would have to be the Philadelphia Eagles when Buddy Ryan was there, and the Eagles now. You know, Arizona Cardinals when they play us. Houston. There's a number of teams out there. I mean, there's been some great defenses now.
Because earlier this season, everybody thought that Houston would be a walkover for you guys in Game 2, and they weren't.
You know, everybody prejudged Houston kind of prematurely. They tried to say Houston wasn't going to be as good as they were last year based on their first game performance against the Indianapolis Colts. But when you think about it, that's the scenario that you played to me earlier, looking over someone. And I think Houston did that to Indianapolis.
In this league, you can remind these young folks out there, you just can't do that in this league.
You really can't. You really can't do it, because if you overlook someone, you're going to end up getting beat like Houston did. And they got embarrassed. They really did. Indianapolis did a great job. And they took advantage of every opportunity that Houston gave them and embarrassed them.
How good are the Dallas Cowboys at this point in 1994?
I think we're just as good as we were last year, if not even a little better. I think we're definitely determined, we're definitely focused, and we're some hard-working individuals. We go out there and practice and work hard. We want to win. We want to be successful. I mean, when you go to 2 Super Bowls in a row, you have that taste of glory, that taste of sweetness. You don't ever want to lose that feeling, and you don't ever want to lose that taste.
We'll come back and spend a final minute with Emmitt Smith, number 22 of the Dallas Cowboys, right after this. Don't you go away.
What's the matter, son?
I'm kind of worried about a package I sent out for Mr. Jones.
Cup of coffee? Well, sending out that package is a big responsibility. Jones knows you'll come through. Hard work, faith, trust in each other. That's what it's all about. Besides, in over 20 years, FedEx has never let me down.
What if I didn't use FedEx?
Well, then, you're dead.
Next time, use FedEx.
Hit the lights on your way out.
When the music's over, so's the party. That's why Magnavox makes a great-sounding mini-system that plays 7 CDs for over 8 hours of non-stop music. Hey, we make technology people want. Magnavox. Smart. Very smart.
Get it moving.
Keep on moving. Oh, yeah. Come on. Sing it, sing it. Yeah.
And the silver bullet has the taste to keep it moving. Coors Light. Naturally brewed for a taste that goes down easy. Coors Light. Keep on moving.
Where in the world would you go if there were no Las Vegas? What other place will you ever find where you can spend the entire day teeing off, stepping out, or just winding down? And all night really living it up? Only in Las Vegas.
Welcome back, everybody, and we've got a lot of questions to ask Emmitt Smith. We have very little time to do it in, so let's get into it right now. If you were going to offer a feeling to the young folks out here watching now, some advice to them, the aspiring athletes, somebody who wants to be like Emmitt Smith, what would you say if you looked into that camera?
Personally, I would tell an individual, don't try to be like me, because we all are separate, we all are individuals. That's the unique aspect about what God given us. We all have our own special talent, and we need to find out what that talent is and try to maximize that. If you're trying to be like me, please don't, but be better than me. I want to see the next individual come up and be better than what I am, or better than what they think I am. And you know, life gonna go on regardless. And just try to find your niche and be the best that you can possibly be at whatever you're trying to do.
Now, we know that college football, you're playing for pride and old Gator land. But here, you got money on the line. Once that contract is signed, does the enthusiasm for the game creep in even more?
No, you don't think about, when you go on a game day, you don't think about how much dollars you're making. You don't think about the contract you just signed. I mean, you're still playing for pride. You're still playing to go out there and win. You're playing for not only that, you're playing for the guy that's on the right of you, the guy that's on the left of you. Everybody out there is playing to do one thing, and that's to win the game.
I learned something from you a year ago. You don't forget your offensive linemen at all, do you, around Christmas time?
I can't, man. Them jokers, man, they take good care of me. Without those guys up front, and Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin, and the defense as well, and Harper and Novacek and Darryl Johnson, and you know, all the success that I've had would not have been possible. And not to mention the offensive coordinators, because those guys put us in position to go out and win games. And a lot of the things that I've been able to accomplish has definitely been a tribute to my teammates.
That injury last season that really hurt you, your shoulder, that must be an indication there of how much Emmitt Smith likes this game and loves to play it. Because you played, I mean, you were in pain.
I was in pain. But, you know, at one point in time, you know, you hear coaches say, when you are in pain, think about the guy to the right of you. He may be in pain too. You know, a lot of things go to plan in your mind. You go to running a lot of things that you have learned over the course of your football career that individuals have said to you, that have been motivating factors to you. And not only that, but you want to win. You want to win, and you want to do whatever it takes to win. That's why I keep telling myself before I go on the field, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help my team win.
Now, you come back the next season, do you have time to let yourself mentally think about previous injuries?
No. You try to forget about them. Try to let them have their space in the past, and just keep moving forward.
So you're still enjoying this game no matter what the injuries, because this is a vicious sport.
It is a vicious sport, but you can't dwell on things. You can't dwell on it. You don't have time to. Before you know it, that sixth day in that game, they'll be right upon you.
I want you to dwell on one thing, and that's cohesiveness. I know this team is cohesive on the field.
Right.
How are you off the field?
I think what you see on the football field is probably what you're going to see off the football field. I mean, we spent an awful lot of time together off the football field. Last night, Mike Irvin and myself went out to dinner, and I did his show, and you know, yesterday evening, Lincoln Coleman and Derek Lysick and them were hanging out. I shot golf yesterday with Alvin Harper and Willie Jackson. You know, all this stuff went on after practice yesterday.
Could you guys be Super Bowl champions if you didn't get along that way?
I don't think so. I think something will be disrupted right there. And one thing we do have in common, we all believe in each other. We all work hard for one another. And when you see someone working hard, it makes you want to go out and work even harder.
How many times during the course of the career thus far have you gone up to the quarterback and say, I can beat this man over here, get the ball to me?
I can't recall any. I don't think I've ever done it to Troy or anybody, to tell you the truth. But
even in college?
Even in college. I would tell Troy, they're leaving me open. And if you can't find, if nothing is there down the field, they're leaving me open, you might want to look for me. That's what I would tell Troy. I would never tell him to come throw the ball exactly to me unless I would leave it all up to him, but I would make him aware that they are leaving me open. They're dropping back and not covering me.
How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as a player that gave it all he had, a player, definitely a team player, a player that wanted to go out and win, not only for himself, but for his teammates. I play this game because I want to be a winner, and I think throughout my career, I mean, I've been a team player, and that's the way I believe it. I could not do the things that I do on the football field without the help of my teammates.
So it's never been a thing for Emmitt Smith to say, I.
No, it's never I. I'm playing a team sport, and that's the way it needs to be.
Quick question, and then we're through. The question has been asked many times, and it's a real bad question. Can you win the Super Bowl again? Can you get to the Super Bowl again? Well, of course, obviously you can. The question is, though, will you?
Will we? That's a tough question. But I can say this. we will be trying our hardest. The hardest thing to do is to win games Sunday, week in and week out. And I feel like the toughest part is going to be in the season. If we can make it to the playoff, I feel like we will have some success in the playoff. How much is yet to be seen. But if we can ever make it back to the dance, I really firmly and really believe that we will win.
Well, you danced real well the last two parties. That's Emmitt Smith, number 22 of the Dallas Cowboys. We thank you, Emmitt. God bless you. And we'll see you next week right here, one-on-one.